Welcome to another episode of The Engineer. Hello, this is The Abundance Mandate, Episode 2, and I am the engineer. In the first episode, I said we aren't living through a normal economic cycle. We're living through a structural break, and it's a break remarkably similar to the one America experienced in the 1920s and the 1930s. That was a volatile cocktail of severe wealth concentration and rapid technological disruption that ultimately flowed into the Great Depression. Here's the parallel that should make us pay attention. In 1929, the top 1% held 45% of the nation's wealth. Today, we're back to 43%. History isn't repeating, it's rhyming. In that earlier age of abundance, the masters of technology were labeled, unkindly and often inaccurately, the robber barons. Men like Rockefeller, Morgan, Vanderbilt, and Carnegie. The parallels today are striking. We see extreme capital concentration, we see transformational technologies arriving in waves, and we see productivity exploding faster than our institutions can adapt. Today we look at the Magnificent Seven tech companies and the billionaires, and we see the same pattern. But here is the controversial truth. They aren't villains. They're players in a system we haven't updated. Yes, they've made their choices about lobbying, about wages, about market dominance. But demonizing individuals, that misses the point. The system itself is designed to concentrate wealth during technological transitions. They're simply playing a structural role. This is what abundance looks like before society figures out how to circulate the gains. The lessons from history isn't to demonize them. It's to build institutions that let abundance work for everyone. Fix the system, not the people. The last time we did this, and here's what's important, we solved this problem before when America faced the crisis of the 1930s. When the old system collapsed under the weight of technological change and wealth concentration, we didn't accept it as inevitable. We rebuilt the system. The New Deal created Social Security, ensuring that elderly Americans wouldn't die in poverty. Later, we added Medicare, guaranteeing health care for seniors. We built public infrastructure. We funded education. We created jobs programs and established a safety net that said, if you're an American, you deserve a baseline of dignity and security. Those weren't radical ideas. They were practical responses to a structural break, and they worked. Those programs didn't just help individuals. They created the conditions for the greatest economic expansion in human history. The boom years from the 50s to the 70s weren't despite these programs, they were because of them. Middle class income doubled. Home ownership rates soared from 44 to 64%. A single breadwinner could support a family, buy a house, and send kids to college. That wasn't luck, that was policy. When people have security, they take risks. They start businesses, they invest in education, and they participate in the economy. A strong middle class isn't a drag on growth. It's the engine of growth. The New Deal was about surviving the industrial age transition. The Abundance Mandate is about surviving in the AI and the robotics transition. However, while the platform is the same, the threat this time is fundamentally different. The latter is collapsing. In the past, technology replaced human tasks, but it amplified human capability. The tractor replaced the plow, but it made the farmer more productive. But today, we face two new realities. First, globalization has already hollowed out the industrial middle class. And second, most critically, AI and robotics don't just amplify humans, they replace them. Let me make this concrete. Consider a fictional factory worker in Ohio. Let's call him Mike. He's 52, he's worked the line for 28 years, sharp as a tack. His plant automated 3 years ago. Everyone told him to learn to code, to retrain, to climb the ladder. Here's the problem. Even if Mike became a coder overnight, which is already asking him to leap across an enormous skills gap, AI is now writing code better than most junior developers. The ladder we're telling people to climb is disappearing as they reach for the rungs. This isn't Mike's failure, it's a system failure. Even if we bring manufacturing back to the U.S., robots will do the work. The added productivity will not absorb human labor like it did in the 20th century. When machines can learn, decide, and act faster and cheaper than us, labor can no longer be the sole gateway to economic security. Productivity has been disconnected from participation. This is the structural break. For decades, the economic ladder was simple. Machines took the physical jobs at the bottom, so humans climbed up to the skilled trades and office work at the top. But now, that ladder is collapsing from both ends at once. On the bottom, robotics are removing physical labor. On the top, AI is coming for cognitive work. It's not replacing creativity at the very top yet, and it's not replacing deep human care at the core. But it is creating a widening canyon between what the economy needs and what the majority of the population is trained and capable of doing. This is what I call the cognitive skills gap. And it's not a gap that retraining can fix, because the jobs themselves are vanishing faster than we can train people for them. This isn't a failure of the individual, it's a mismatch in the system. Okay, so how do we fix it? Well, before I suggest a fix, I want to make clear what this is not. It is not welfare. It's not communism. And especially, it's not intended to discourage innovation or ambition. These are and will be the foundation of our vibrant society and economy. In the coming age of abundance, AI does the cognitive work, and AI optimizes, and the robots do the physical labor. These systems don't commute, they don't sleep, and they don't earn wages, but they generate enormous economic value. And critically, they do not operate in a vacuum. Then, because they use public infrastructure, things like energy, data, security, highways, shipping routes, airspace, and more, those that reap the benefits owe the public what I'm calling a universal basic necessity dividend. This will backstop the people caught in the transition, who can eventually find a place on the new ladder, and it will also help the people who are on the wrong side of the cognitive skills gap. So what do I mean by a universal basic necessity dividend? In episode 1, I introduced two concepts: universal basic services and universal basic equity. But as I've looked deeper at the coming disruption, I realized that a third pillar is required, and it may be the most urgent of all: universal basic contribution. The abundance mandate rests on these three pillars. None of them work alone, but together they create a system where abundance actually serves humanity. Let me walk you through each one. Pillar 1, Universal Basic Services, UBS. This is about capability. UBS answers the question, can people even get in the game? It provides the environment where human potential can actually be realized. Education, healthcare, food, connectivity, mobility. These aren't lifestyle perks. They're the physics of participation. Without them, you cannot function in a modern society. If you can't afford healthcare, you can't take risks. If you can't access education, you can't adapt. If you don't have broadband, you're locked out of the digital economy. UBS is the foundation. It gets people to the starting line. Pillar 2, Universal Basic Equity. This is about alignment. UBS gets you in the game, but UBE answers how do you win. The middle class help build the data and the infrastructure that trains the AI. They deserve to share in the compounding growth of that technology. This isn't redistribution. It's circulating the abundance to a wider base. If the economy compounds, all people should benefit, not just the capital holders. Think of UBE as the engine. It ensures that everybody benefits from the race we're running. Now, some of you might be thinking, okay, services and equity, I get it. But isn't that enough? If people have healthcare and housing and food and connectivity and share in the gains, aren't we done? Well, that's what I thought too. But then I looked at what's happening in communities where automation has already hit. Pillar 3, Universal Basic Contribution. This is about value, and it's the pillar I believe is the most urgent. You can have services and you can have equity, but a society will still collapse if its people do not feel useful, needed, or valued. If the robot does the physical job and AI does the cognitive work, what's the human for? Contribution doesn't just mean employment. It means care, community, civic duty, and above all, education. Right now, we'll pay a hedge fund manager millions to move money around, but we'll pay a home health aide $25,000 to care for our aging parents. That's not a market failure. That's a values failure. AI can scale knowledge, but it cannot replace encouragement, judgment, or trust. One adult helping one child learn changes an outcome for a lifetime. One neighbor checking on an elderly resident creates safety and dignity. Now Mike, that fictional factory worker from Ohio, he now volunteers at the local food bank. He's deeply knowledgeable about his community. He's doing essential work under our current system, but we measure his economic contribution as zero. Under UBC, we would recognize and compensate the work he's doing. UBC reorients what we call productive work. It's the compass. It ensures we're running towards something that matters. Putting it all together, think of it this way. UBS is the foundation. It gets people to the starting line. UBE is the engine. It ensures that everyone benefits from the race. And UBC is the compass. It ensures we're running towards something that matters. Remove any one of these and the whole structure collapses. If people can't access the basics, they can't participate. If they don't share in the growth, they will resist the system. And if they aren't needed, they lose their purpose. Abundance should make humans more valuable, not less. So what's next? Well, in the next episode, episode 3, I want to get specific. No more theory. We're going to talk about how this actually works, structurally and operationally. And then in episode 4, we tackle the elephant in the room. How do we pay for it? How do we fund this responsibility using the budget we have and the abundance we're creating without breaking the bank? The question isn't whether we can afford to do this. It's whether we can afford not to. Because the alternative isn't the status quo. That's gone now. It's collapse. Again, I'm the engineer, and I'll see you in episode 3.